Gloria, one of the big storylines on your show is this 15-year-old Latina girl coming out, which is not something we have seen on television before. What did you hope the sort of intended impact would be, and did you have any concerns about the sort of audience response to that, given that you have a young girl at the center of that?
Yeah, well, I was really surprised that there hadn't been. And as we were talking about in the room, we have two lesbian writers in the room, and they were speaking so much about their lack of representation. And that, like, there's a gay episode, and then everyone sort of moves on. And they were like, it would be so interesting. And, you know, my partner, my co-creator, Mike Royce, his daughter was coming out. And I was so moved. He would come to work, and he was the guy that wanted to do it right. You know, like be the perfect dad for the coming out. And I was so moved by that. And it's like, we need to put all of this in there.
I just came out to abuelita.
You did?
And I think it's beautiful.
You do?
Claro, and I accept it immediately. No questions asked.
Well, that is great. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of Latinos that are really steeped in old school thoughts about that. And so it felt like such a great way to really have a slow, she has a long time where she discovers it and comes to terms with it and then talks to her parents about it. And then we have a whole episode where, the unknown to the child, the mom is having a tough time with it. Like, she has friends that are gay, she's totally fine with everyone gay in her life, and then now that it's her daughter, she feels weird, and why do I feel weird, and what's wrong with me? And we got to explore that in a whole episode.
And do you,
really nice.
Do you sit down with the actress and her family and discuss, here's what could happen.
Yes.
Here's what you may hear. I mean, the comments you were sort of talking about on Twitter, that could happen to you.
Well, also, I was like, this is a Latina girl. Like, I don't know that her family's going to be okay with this. She's underage, and so I sat down, and her and her family were so lovely, and they were so excited to tell the story, and we're really proud to represent it. So it was really lovely, and we used a lot of our lesbian writers in the room. We you know, really leaned on them to tell us the experience. A lot of it was through the lens of a man. Like, they kind of she did make out with a guy first just to kind of try that on. And it wasn't for her, and there was a lot of discussion of, should we see it through the framework of a man first? Can't you just be gay and not, you know? All of that gets discussed. But no, ultimately we were happy with how it turned out.
When in your careers have you felt pigeonholed? And with that, what are the things that you are sort of approached for as, we expect and want this thing from you, and you are sort of tired of needing to deliver that? Well,
when I first started, I was on the short-lived quintuplets. That was my very first writing job. And after that, I got offered a huge bump, like a double bump. Remember those? To go on the George Lopez show. Or I could repeat and be a staff writer again on How I Met Your Mother. There was a gut thing that told me How I Met Your Mother was the right fit for me. However, there was also a huge part of me that was like, that Calderon, if I go down the George Lopez path, I'm going to be Latina writer forever. So I went to How I Met Your Mother and had a glorious time.
You know what I'm asking? Did your agents push one way or another?
They were pretty cool once I explained it to them, but it was a lot less money. It was a lot less money.
But they were leaning the other way.
They were leaning the other way. They were, because it was a double bump. I think they were seeing it from that.
I'm just curious as to what the advisors were saying.
They were leaning the other way, and then it took, 10 years before I did another Latino show, because I wanted to show I could do all that other stuff, and then now I can do this, and then this last year, all I've talked about is being Latina. I overheard somebody talking that when I was I'd leave the room to breastfeed, that I was taking an extra 30 minutes to breastfeed, and that was like a break. So I was like, I'll do it in the room. And I pumped in the room. Yes! Every day. And it was my big zomp, zomp, zomp.
Wow.
While I was pitching jokes. Yeah. And full, delicious milk.
Yeah. Did it change
doling
the
it out
types
to
of
everyone.
jokes that were pitched?
I think they were, they came from more of a tit place. They were like,
One of my best friends did that at the table. And it just, you got that soothing.
Yeah, everyone kind of fell asleep
a
little bit. It was kind of a lulling 30 minutes.
That is amazing.
It's empowering. I do it.
It's just super creepy. Yeah, I feel like I can pull off better.
You keep going, you put them on, and then you go, keep going.